Welcome to my new channel. Today our story name is The Prince Who Turned into a Mouse. Once upon a time there was a prince who was kind and handsome. He was loved by all of his subjects, and he lived a happy life in his castle. One day the prince was walking in the forest when he came across a strange old woman. The old woman was sitting on a rock, and she was holding a basket of apples. "Would you like an apple, young man?" the old woman asked. The prince was polite, so he took an apple from the basket. He thanked the old woman and took a bite. The apple was delicious, but as soon as the prince finished eating it, he felt strange. He started to shrink, and his clothes started to get too big for him. In seconds, the prince had turned into a mouse. The old woman laughed and disappeared into the forest. The prince was scared and confused. He didn't know what to do. He tried to find his way back to the castle, but he couldn't. He was lost in the forest, and he was all alone. The prince wandered through the forest for days. He was hungry and tired. He was also scared of all the other animals in the forest. One day, the prince came across a family of mice. The mice were kind and friendly, and they took the prince in. They gave him food and water, and they helped him to find a place to sleep. The prince lived with the mice for many days. He learned how to speak their language, and he learned how to survive in the forest. One day, the prince was playing with the mice when he saw a group of hunters. The hunters were carrying nets and cages, and they were clearly looking for animals to catch. The prince knew that he had to do something to save his friends. He ran to the hunters and started to squeak and scratch at them. The hunters were so surprised that they dropped their nets and cages. They ran away, scared of the talking mouse. The mice were grateful to the prince for saving them. They knew that he was a brave and kind mouse. The prince decided to stay with the mice in the forest. He was happy there, and he had made many new friends. One day, the prince was playing with the mice when he saw the old woman from the forest again. The old woman was sitting on a rock, and she was holding a magic wand. "You have been a good friend to the mice," the old woman said. "As a reward, I will turn you back into a prince." The old woman waved her magic wand, and the prince turned back into a human. He was so happy to be back to normal. The prince thanked the old woman and said goodbye to his mouse friends. He then made his way back to the castle. When the prince arrived at the castle, he was greeted by his family and subjects. They were all so happy to see him again. The prince told everyone about his adventures in the forest, and he taught them all about the importance of kindness and friendship. The prince lived happily ever after, and he always remembered the lessons he learned from his mouse friends. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe my YouTube channel